Welcome to At Scale, the Tennessee Achieves podcast. I'm Krissy, DeAlejandro, Tennessee Achieves President and CEO. Tennessee Achieves seeks to be humble but ambitious, disruptive yet intentional, and student-focused while also data-driven. We believe our mission is simple: enhance post-secondary opportunities and outcomes by providing holistic student supports rooted in community and accountability at scale. But the work is much more complex. Since 2008, we've broken some things in a great way. We've built many things, and we've created something that stems from the idea that a college credential can be a powerful equalizer. From helping individual students navigate the complexities of college to shaping the way Tennessee thinks about preparing and educating tomorrow's workforce, this podcast explores how Tennessee Achieves intersects with partners across our state and throughout the country. Let's dig in with state and national thought partners, business and industry leaders, college and K-12 representatives, and all the others in between that inform, inspire, and interconnect with Tennessee Achieves work. Here we go. Welcome back to the At Scale podcast. I'm Krissy DeAlejandro, joined once again by Ben Sterling. Ben, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a minute since you and I were together.
Great to be back. We haven't been together on this. I've done a couple with Tyler. You've done a couple with Graham, but the band's back together.
It's the fantastic too. I was trying to think of a duo that's Starsky and Hutch. What's a duo that's famous?
Brooks and Dunn.
Brooks and Dunn. No. Well, I'm so excited for our guests today. We have two really amazing presidents joining us, friends for a really long time, incredible leaders, both at their institutions, but also inside the communities where they work, both huge supporters of students, both care deeply about economic and workforce development. I mean, it's just, I'm so excited to have a conversation with them. So we're happy to welcome Dr. Michael Torrence, president of Motlow State Community College, and Dr. Tracy Hall, president of Southwest Tennessee Community College. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you for having us. It's such a pleasure.
We appreciate you guys and look forward to a really fruitful conversation this morning.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, Tracy, why don't we start with you? Tell us about your journey to Southwest. What drew you to this college in Memphis that, quite frankly, needed some turnaround work? And I think you've been doing it. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around. Has it been 10 years now since you've been there?
10 and a half years.
Wow.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I know. It seems like yesterday. The time has really flown by, though.
Well, what
Yeah,
brought
so
you to
my
Southwest?
journey,
Talk
actually,
to
my
us about your journey.
Yeah, so my journey actually started in the classroom. I started as a faculty member and teaching mass comm, speech, interpersonal communication. So that was my background, and really that's what I thought I would continue to do. It was a deviation from what I thought I would be doing, and it was journalism. Actually, I had plans to go into TV and radio or newspaper. I enjoyed the actual thought of, I was this first generation kid. So I'm thinking that once I graduated from college, I was going to get this job in the top news station in New York City. That's how naive I was. And ended up finding myself as a grad student. I'm skipping through a lot of my life. My husband was military, and we were in Wichita, Kansas. And I thought, this is a long way from New York City. But I had a faculty member that asked me what did I want to do with my life, and I said I don't know, because my plans were to be in TV or radio or newspaper or whatever. And he said, well, have you thought about teaching? I said, absolutely not. Don't want to teach. I want to actually be on the news or working in the news. And he said, well, he talked about how the stipend would help me if I got a graduate teaching assistantship, and it would help pay for my master's degree. And all of a sudden, teaching looked really interesting. And so that's really how I started. In the classroom, a faculty member asked and saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I moved from faculty into administrative roles, working in around different cities. Kansas City, Missouri was my first administrative role, and I enjoyed it. And I saw that I could have an impact in the classroom, but a different type of impact outside of the classroom. And I then saw that urban community colleges, that's where I really was drawn to. A lot of times people think of those as challenging institutions, and they can be, but the rewards are so great when you see students cross the stage and you know that they're walking maybe on the stage alone, but they have their whole communities walking with them, really. And so St. Louis, is where I'm from. I had an administrative role there as vice president for academic affairs, and then this position became available. And I really wasn't looking at the time for a presidency. I never have chased a title, but just seeing the description of what Southwest, the challenges were, the city, I thought this is, again, a place that I'm drawn to. And 10 and a half years later, I'm still here, still loving the work. Um, Tired by the challenges sometimes, but it's still the motivation because there's such a need in the community. So the motivation is still there, the passion is still there. So I'm happy to be here still 10 and a half years later.
I could see you as a TV personality. That all tracks. Don't give up on that dream.
Don't get up. It's not too late. Okay.
It's not too late. I could also see Michael as a TV personality. Michael, talk to us about your journey. Was that also a goal to be on television? I could totally see you doing that.
It is very similar. So I had a very interesting route to getting to this position today. A lot of people involved because I needed a lot of help at the beginning, moving through things, student athlete, Air Force, then going back to school after the military, luckily getting a second opportunity to be a student athlete in the middle of nowhere. But it's the beginning of everywhere, as they like to say, in Brookings, South Dakota State University. I initially went to James Madison University and was signed up and to play football and basketball for Rip Shearer and Lefty Driesell, full athletic ride. But I enjoyed myself way too much and paying attention to the things that a young person should pay attention to when they're given that opportunity. So sometimes you have to lose something to gain perspective. And so I lost on that opportunity of my own volition and got another opportunity to do it after finishing 4 years in the Air Force. Initially, Tracy, I was a mass comm major.
Really?
But you have to go to class.
Well, yeah,
That's an important
that
part.
part.
Right. So I was interested in mass comm and special education initially, and then fast forward after time in the Air Force, I came back and I was interested in being a pharmacist actually, but pharmacy, the labs were during practice, and so I had a decision to make. Not an ultimatum, but a decision to make. My coach asked me, "Who's paying for you to go to school, the pharmacy department or us?" And I was like, "Well, this makes sense." And he said, "Well, is there anything else that you like to do?" And I said, "I like to write." So I ended up being an English major. So I started in the classroom as well. 5th grade, 3rd grade, literacy was really important to me. Being in South Dakota and being from Richmond, Virginia, by way of Petersburg and Dinwiddie, very small town, rural areas. The importance of literacy was always important to me, and we usually learned it through music and dance. So the combination of those, I was like, well, if we can figure out a way to add musicality, and games to teaching English, then maybe we have something. So those are the kinds of projects I initially started on. The transition here to Tennessee, my high school coach became the head men's basketball coach at Tennessee Tech University. I'd finished my master's degree and finished playing and, chased the orange ball to different continents thinking that I was going to be able to be the point guard for the Lakers. Obviously that didn't work out. But I did get a chance to do some things abroad and very thankful for that. But when I came back, he's like, "Hey, would you like to come and coach?" And I said, "I'll come coach if you'll pay for me to get my PhD." So it was an even swap, as my grandmother would say, even swap ain't no swindle. So we made a deal. And after the first year, it was very clear to me that I wasn't interested in coaching, that academia was my pursuit. And I had great mentors along the way, Leo McGee, Carl Owens, Mark Burnett. um, and some of the presidents, Angela Volpe, and Bob Bell at Tennessee Tech, kind of helped guide me towards, hey, here's an opportunity if you just take hold of it and see where you land. Fast forward, the best advice I was given, leave Tennessee and go make your mistakes up north above the Mason-Dixon line, then come back when you have figured some things out. And I took advantage of an opportunity at Volunteer State as the Assistant Vice President of Academic Affairs. And this opportunity presented itself 2 times. The first time I was unsuccessful in being the president here at Motlow State. The second time I was chosen to lead and honored and humbled by it. And here we are.
I love both those stories. I think they're stories of perseverance and resilience and also big dreams. So I think you could still play for the Lakers, Michael. So again, don't give up on your dreams. Well, 10.5 years at Southwest and eight years, Michael, is that right? 8 years-ish?
Going on 9. Going on 9.
And yet we're all still so young, guys.
We started early.
We started so young. Tell me about your wins. So you both came in different institutions in many ways, right? Urban institution. Michael, you have a huge footprint in terms of geography. Whoever wants to go first, but talk to me about the wins over the last, let's just say, decade of leadership.
Well, I'll go ahead. I'll start. I think I can count to a number of wins in terms of improving our graduation rates and retention rates and enrollment. I'll say mainly before COVID. COVID really was a disaster in so many different ways, but we were seeing some really great strides prior to COVID, and we're clawing our way back out from that as well. So I can talk about a number of student success wins. But I think for me, if I think about one of the greatest wins is bringing a culture together. So Southwest, when I started in 2015, had merged in 2000. But when I began, I realized that it was still really 2 separate colleges. There was the Shelby State Community College, and there was the State Tech, and they were still operating as separate institutions. And now that wasn't told to me when I was interviewing. No one told me that part. And so I had to learn that. I did have a consultant's report prior to arriving that really did kind of paint the whole picture, but this was after I'd accepted the position, but I still would have accepted it. But that was a huge hurdle to see 2 different cultures. And so I couldn't begin the way I thought, how you'll start with the listening tour and trying to talk to faculty, staff, students, and community members about some of the challenges. And I was able to do that. But the underlying negative current was that people did not see themselves as one college. And so that was something that I really had to tackle. And I didn't know that I would have to tackle it, but it was internal. People didn't feel that way, but externally, people still referred to the institution as separate entities. My husband played basketball, and he even would call me the president of Shelby State. So
Oh
if
my
your own
goodness.
husband didn't even know that, because he said, well, but he said, yes, Southwest, but I just remember Shelby State. But it's Southwest. And so having to really bring everyone together to see us as one entity. And I'll tell you, joining Achieving the Dream was really that framework that I needed to bring us all together, to see that we could not continue to have fractured processes. And we couldn't continue to see ourselves as, well, if we're at this campus, this is how we do it. Well, at this campus, this is how we do it. And then the community also looking at what their history had been, either with Shelby State or State Tech. So that, I will say, was one of a win that I'm really proud of, that now when we do talk about Shelby State and when we do talk about State Tech, it is included as a part of our legacy, as a part of our heritage. We honor the people that came before us, and we built upon those legacies in the history, but we see ourselves as Southwest Tennessee Community College, and there's one college. This is how we do things at Southwest, and it feels as though people have embraced that. And so I'm really proud of that. It's taken almost a decade that to change it. At the same time, we're doing all these other things. We're building this culture, and so everything that we do, from redesigning the student experience, is all with a culture in mind, with the team in mind. And I emphasize that a great deal because of that history. And I don't want us to slip back into that. And now with 10.5 years, people have come and gone, but they're still basically from Memphis, and they still remember Shelby State and remember State Tech. And I don't want to forget those two institutions. We embrace it. As I said, we have a homecoming. This is our second year, or it's going into our third year of having a homecoming. And so we invite the Shelby State and the State Tech grads, alum, or retirees. And so it's become more of a family kind of, let's remember the past. And I think people have appreciated that we still honor the past as we move in our new future. And so I would say that to me is something that I'm most proud of. And the biggest win. Changing the culture is difficult. And I think we've had some success in that area.
That's super interesting. Yeah, I had no idea about that history of Southwest. That is really interesting, Dr. Hall.
You had not spent enough time in Memphis then, Ben, because it was
Knoxville boy, guilty of that. Grew up in East Tennessee for sure. My Memphis experience is kind of only beginning now. But I think you've done an amazing job of that. I think I would say that over the last 10 years, it certainly feels as if the college has glued together, and
Yes.
everybody seems to be pulling in the same direction, especially right now. It really does. And so I applaud you. I do see that as a huge win. What about you, Dr. Torrence? What's a win for you?
Well, the first thing I have to acknowledge is that I work with 12 of the presidents that are pretty amazing. Dr. Hall, her work has been a masterclass in what she's counted as a win. There's probably been 100 others that are micro wins and major wins, but not on the record, but it's just acknowledging that the wins are the fact that I can pick up the phone anytime I need to and reach out to someone who either has experienced what I'm about to experience, has already seen what I am about to see, and I can beg the question. So we have folks who've been in the system for decades in various capacities. So that's a win from my perspective, because a lot of the things you don't have to reinvent, attempt to do in singularity. We can beg questions about that. The other wins I would say is that the endurance, working with folks to understand the various themes. So my first couple of years, we talked about data, technology, infrastructure, and people being the pillars of our success. And we've been very, very successful, sitting atop funding formula rankings a couple of times. This most recent time, we've done really well with workforce across the system. But it's not the metrics, it's the matter of the purpose that I think people have found behind working collaboratively, working together. Having 5 locations, 42 teaching sites, 11 counties in Tennessee, 3 in northern Alabama, over 5,000 square miles of place, space, and people to engage with. It stretches us, and we've come to understand that every location is as important as every other location, whether it be a smaller location or in a small town rural area, or the footprint is actually sitting in Rutherford County, which is our largest of our service area. So endurance has been a topic for the last year, because it's not enough to be successful. Our perspective is you have to learn to endure success. People get comfortable, I won't say complacent, but they get comfortable in knowing that, oh, we're doing this well and we're doing that well. The students change every year. And with the preparation that institutions need to be prepared for the student, not the student being prepared for the institution, that's been a call for us. So enduring our own success has been at the top of mind. And then lastly, I would say recognition that everybody across our organization needs to keep being a learner. Dr. Hall is the first in our system to build an AI program. So right now, that's the most current of where we're going. We'll move into quantum and some other things our chancellor wants us to do. But previously to that, the preparation for big data, the preparation for data science, the preparation for the digitization of most things. And most of my colleagues know that I talk about technology a lot because it's everywhere and it's implemented everywhere. But now I'm moving in a different direction, and I hope the institution embraces my movement and our movement in that direction. We're in this Middle Tennessee region that has 33 historical and natural state parks across these 11 counties. So moving into sustainability in a different way, because building that workforce is just as important as building people who understand zeros and ones of code. So we're going to embark on some adjacent sustainability efforts that are as much tied to technology as it is to knowing how to start a fire with a piece of flint, a stick, and some rocks. And I know it's very, very basic. It's probably the most basic example I've given of any of the stuff we do, because most of the time people expect robotics and technology and drones. But getting back a foot to the hills, from Mountain City to Memphis, right? All of that stuff in between is really important for us to build out that part of our catalog and book of business to support Tennesseans. So I guess those are the three things that are most important to me. But it's people, it's the students, it's the community, and more importantly, being able to sit back and absorb the work that Dr. Hall does, Dr. Jackson, and I can list everybody, but I'll stop there because those are my two big sisters. So I'll just stop there. But we're watching their work and then saying, okay, how can we borrow a little bit or implement something that we believe is working elsewhere to fit into the culture that we're attempting to build here?
I love that. I feel like you set me up really nicely for where I want to go next. So thanks for that. We do have a lot of really great presidents, like leadership that has really expertise is really wonderfully spread throughout the state, but also like a willingness to just try new things. I mean, I think it's a very entrepreneurial group of presidents who want to do right by students and jump in with both feet. Having said that, I feel like both of you fall into that category of let's put students first and try a lot. So we have a value at Tennessee Achieves, try a lot of things and keep what works. And one of those things was really attempting to address the very high percentage of the students that we served pre-Tennessee Promise, but certainly when Tennessee Promise became part of the ethos, the ecosystem of Tennessee, who required academic remediation. This was pre-co-requisite, right? This idea of we have 80% of our student population that's not quite college ready. And we're saying, hey, open access institutions, we would like to flood you with this group of students. Talk to me before we talk about summer programs. Talk to me about the challenge of that vulnerable student population as you think about how to prepare them for the workforce, how to get them the supports they need in an effort to get to that credential.
Dr. Torrence, I went first last time. Are you?
You know I'm Southern. I was raised right. I will wait for you to go, ma'am, and I'll happily go after you.
Okay. Well, first, let me just say it's a mutual admiration society in terms of Dr. Torrence and the nice things he said about me. And I would say that I feel the same way about him. He called me his big sister. I'm not sure I like the word big associated with my name.
No, it's terrible, Michael, just so you know.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
Wise sister, a wise sister.
Wise sister. Okay, fair enough.
I also want to be called big. No.
Yes, other than that, everything's
I retract that.
But I think with students who are vulnerable, we have to do and think about where they are currently in their academic journey. And that's what the beauty of, I think, of community colleges is that we meet them where they are. We accept everyone. There's also a challenge of community colleges. We accept everyone. And so we don't screen out, we don't not accept a student because they have certain challenges. We embrace those challenges. It becomes difficult when you have limited resources to do that. And so you have to really think about what is the main thing. And that's where we are here at Southwest now as we are preparing our next strategic plan. We realize that even with our best effort, we still have we don't have the numbers that we need. Our enrollment is not where it needs to be. Our retention is not where it needs to be. Our completion is not where it needs to be. We've made some strides over the years. We have some wins that I am so proud of, and we celebrate those wins, but we still are firmly planted in reality, and that there are some things that we have to do that we are not able to do alone. And so partnerships, it's critical. So we have mental health counseling for our students, but we have nearly 8,000 students and 2 mental health counselors. That's not enough. We don't have the resources to have as many counselors as we would need. So we have to partner with community entities that provide those services, and that's what they do well. And so let's bring them more into our campus. Food pantries. We have food pantries on each of our campuses, but we don't have enough money to stock those shelves after grants run out. And so we have to have partnerships that do that. We have transportation issues in our community, but we don't have our own bus line. So what do we do to partner with those entities that are able to help support students and partner with our bus company, even with bus passes? And we have Uber cards through a FIPSI grant that we have. And so we have to be realistic in what we're able to do, and then realize exactly. So we're really streamlining what we're doing. We're keeping the main thing, two of our priorities, strengthening our workforce programs. We're focusing and then increasing transfer to bachelor's degrees. We really have to look at our high impact, high wage programs. When there are questions about the value of higher education, we can't just be defensive about people asking, well, why should I go to college? We have to really listen to them and hear what they're saying. And they're saying that if I can not go to college and if I go to college and I make as much money with the degree as I would without a degree, well, why should I choose you? So we have to really listen to what they're saying and look at what we're offering. Are we offering the right programs? Are we offering the right programs at the right time? Are we providing the support for the students? But if we're not able to provide all of the support, what partnerships do we have? We have to be very strategic in our partnerships. In the past, we would just call anybody a partner because it just sounds good to say they're a partner, but really there was not that benefit to our students or to our institution. So we have to be really strategic in what we do. Look at our budgets. Look at where we need the most, where we're having the most impact. Data has become really critical for us to see where are we dropping the ball. We are now redesigning the institution where we are merging academic and student affairs and workforce development. 10 years ago, we looked at processes and people, but we see that we have to take that to another level because we still are missing students. Students are falling through the cracks. And they're falling because we have silos and we're not talking to each other. So this is another part of taking the culture to another level of merging student affairs, academic affairs, and workforce development. And we're not doing the traditional just putting them together and calling it a merge entity. We are really trying to do some very innovative things to make sure we're not missing students and they're falling through the cracks. And so our thoughts are that what we're doing has some small wins, what we've done in the past. And so why not try something innovative? Why not? Because what we're doing right now, even though we've increased enrollment and retention and graduation, is still not good enough. It's still not enough. And when we think about what our communities need, what our state needs, we have to do more. So being innovative, and we're thinking outside of that proverbial box, if you will, to say, put everything on the table. Let's just redesign this. Let's reimagine what we've been doing. And it's okay if some things don't work. But some things will work. And if we're using data to inform how we move forward, we feel that we're going in the right direction now. But we have to think about all the things that our students need, and where their history, their background, the 18 years of education that they had prior to us. Then we're expected in 2.5 years to overcome all of those challenges that they came to us with. We can't do everything alone. We need partnerships. And so we're excited about this new direction, and excited to be able to support our students in a different way.
Smart money is on consolidation. Smart money is on disrupting what proverbially has always been silos in our approach to our support of students. So we all have a focus from the system level on open access, completion, and workforce and community development. And then it drizzles down to, what do we know that students in our hyper-local areas need? Dr. Hall hit all of them. I'll piggyback on some things that are specific to this region. Because of advanced manufacturing with Nissan, Kasai North America, adjacent to us in Hamilton County, we have Volkswagen, and adjacent to us near in the Spring Hill area, we have General Motors. So obviously those are focal areas for us in the workforce and community development component. The workforce part is transitioning. Think of an ideological, deconstruction where academic programs say, we will teach you how to do this, but you don't always get to put your hands on the product. Versus the technical college, where we will teach you how to work on the product, but we may not have the time to walk you through the theoretical approaches to what it means to be in that shop. Comportment, tucking in your shirt, showing up 30 minutes to be on time for your 10 o'clock start. Show up at 9:30. Don't wait till 9:55. So a lot of the soft skills are as important as the technical, as well as the theory that underpins and prepares students to go to work in our region. From a community development standpoint, unfortunately, you get stuck with the leader that you have at your institution, and some of those things may seem like pet projects, but is it a pet project that every third grader should read at the third grade level before he or she finishes and transitions to the fourth grade? I don't think that's a pet project. So we started an initiative called 50 Stories, 50 Stops, where we get into the high schools, get into the middle schools, get into the elementary schools, and talk about the various kinds of literacies that are important. It's not just reading the book, it's reading the tea leaves to some degree. Can you work on this digital device? Can you work on in OER spaces, open educational resources, where you have access to free downloadable information that you can manipulate and ingest at your own will? So for community, that literacy component is still really important, because they build prisons. And when I say they, I'm talking about the state and the federal government. We build prisons based off of how successful young men and young women are in their literacy completion by third grade. So we want to decrease that. We want to build more hospitals. We want more doctors. We want to build more schools because we need more teachers. These are the things that are important to us. In terms of completion, some of our statistics around completion in community colleges holistically, they're great if you want to be a Hall of Fame baseball player. So if a batting average was 34%, 280, 40, 450, it's Hall of Fame. But we're talking about people's lives and the success rates that we have seen ourselves churn forward over the last decade. I think they've been pretty phenomenal. We're talking 7 to 9% increases across our entire system. That's a big deal. What that means is that, to Dr. Hall's point, we have been open to being innovative. We've been open to thinking outside the box. We've been open to being entrepreneurial. And more important, I think we've been appropriately aggressive in finding advisory board members that want to understand, how does educating the mass populace work? We can move quick. We can move fast. We can be nimble. We can be, as Bill Haslam used to mention, we can be the speedboat. but the speedboat has to be able to move and maneuver without being able to be torn or poked holes into it. We don't want it to sink while it's moving and maneuvering. So I think we've done a really good job. We've done a really good job of identifying opportunities that are hyper local or regional and making those adjustments to our academic profiles and moving along the continuum of academic programs that are aligned with student success clubs and academic programs that are aligned with workforce advisory boards, where these people are going to actually hire, not just come and say we're looking for a group of students to come and do this work with us. We are trying and being successful at aligning those three tranches within our institutions in preparation. Open access, 8 to 80. Literally, sometimes we have graduations and I have young folks who are 11 years old. I haven't had an 8-year-old graduate, but we have had some 11 and 12-year-old twins graduate from Motlow and then move on to some really high-level institutions. And we have graduates who are in their 80s, 70s. And it's a beautiful thing to see little people who have these big wide eyes about, okay, I'm finished with college. And they're very dedicated and locked in, to someone who spent a lifetime. And this is the most culminating moment of their lives academically. And then to have a bowl full of people at the Murphy Center at MTSU where we do our graduation, celebrate them. And we do a really good job of acknowledging the veterans, the non-traditional students, those who are youthful and seasoned. Instead of saying big or old, I'll say youthful and seasoned, so that those folks are identified and given their just due or their flowers in real time. So our strategic plan for the next several years is to recognize that our strategic plan will probably need to be adjusted and reviewed biannually because of the rate of change. And we're up for it. We're up for it.
Yeah, I appreciate all of what you guys have shared. The insight into the open access institution, I think there's just so much to be said about that. And we spend a ton of time here. We're actually in our data analysis season, getting ready for board meeting and our annual report and digging into specific student populations and their outcomes, as opposed to looking at it from a whole. You'd really need to drill down into that. And one of the populations that we continue to see just needs that extra support of those students that are just we say academically at risk, students with an 18 or less on the ACT. And when they land on your campus, Dr. Hall, you mentioned this, that they need to be, you need to have a program ready for them to capture them. And you can't teach them all the things that they need to be caught up on in 2 years, but we can do some things to be early interventions. And I really appreciate Southwest's willingness to continue to innovate with us with our Summer Institute. So I'd love for you to share about that partnership. And Dr. Torrence, as we're reviving the summer bridge programs across the state, one of the largest, most successful ones we've always had has been at Motlow, because you guys are always willing to jump in and partner in that space with us, not us coming to your campus to host a program, but we're mutually trying to support students the summer before they enroll. But Dr. Hall, the Summer Institute, I remember when we launched that. Krissy, what year did we start the Institute? 16, 17?
It was 2000. That was 17. Yeah. And it started, I have to tell this story because I think this speaks to Tracy's leadership. So I was in Memphis in her office. We were having a conversation, going through some student data, and what do we do? How can we, and we had Summer Bridge, this 3-week boot camp, and we were talking about how it's good, but could it be better? And so we started in real time, sort of just brainstorming this idea. This was April. I mean, it was late in the game.
Yes, right. It was.
And I was like, if I can find funding for this summer, can we do it? And you said yes. And before I was out of Shelby County, I had found funding, the Randy Boyd. I had made a call. And I was like, just had the best meeting with Tracy Hall. Can we do this thing? And he said, what do you think it will cost? And I said, I think it will cost this much. And he said, go do it. And then we did that summer.
That's right. That's right. I remember that. And it was amazing because, you have a meeting and you brainstorm, and then you expect that maybe, some time is going to pass before you hear that it's go. and you were in the car driving and called me, I got funding. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it was so good.
It was.
But I remember that first year. I don't know if you remember this, but you were so involved. Like we were both like so involved. It was, I think, 27 or so students that first year. We had embedded these students into your summer enrollment. You had cohorted them. I mean, it was just sort of this like take everything we know and smoosh it like this high impact practice and smoosh it all together in the summer in an effort to boost. And I remember you calling me. Do you remember this? One night, like late, and you were like, Krissy, they hate the food. That's how involved you were. You were like, they hate the food. Do you remember this?
I remember that, and I remember having to find someone else because I think, kids, you can have a great program, but if the food is bad, that's all they're going to talk about.
That's all they'll think about.
We need a new caterer. So I had to find someone in the community, and they came through and brought food over there. But those are the things that help with student success. They have to, have a basic need met.
Yep.
Yeah, no, but I think, I would just love your perspective, Tracy, because we're still doing Summer Institute. Every year we have either 100% success rate or a 97% success rate. There's always one student that can't get over that math hurdle, and it just drives me crazy. But it just continues to be such an overwhelming success, not only in eliminating remediation, but students who were behind now start ahead with 9 credit hours under their belt, and their success rate is 3 or 4 times their peers. So, I mean, that alone is why we keep doing it. But why does the college continue to prioritize this? Because it is a big lift for the institution.
It is, but Summer Institute aligns directly with what we know about student success, and that momentum matters. And I remember us having conversations about summer melt and what would happen if, that was kind of where we focused on when students graduate in May, and that time between May and August, that summer melt. And so we lose so many. So it was important to start right away and to get them almost as soon as they graduate, or either have them thinking about it even before they graduate to be a part of this program, because we don't want to lose them in that 3 months before, the fall semester would begin. And so again, it aligns with what we know. We have to capture them early. And I think what makes the program different is that students are not just preparing for college, they're actually in college. The 9 credits that they earn, it helps them build confidence. Think about the student that says, I don't think I see myself as college material. But then right after they graduate, they're in a program and they're earning credits and they're building that confidence. They're learning how to navigate the college. And I think we chose a good location in Whitehaven, the Whitehaven Center, because it's small enough that they don't get lost. They have the support there. Dr. Boone, who is that center's director, and that whole team at Whitehaven. I get the credit for being a part of the early conversations, but in terms of the implementation and the oversight of the day-to-day, it's Dr. Boone and her team. She's faculty there. She's the best. The faculty and staff there at the Whitehaven Center, I'm so proud of them. And what I love about it is that the students that I think we're looking at numbers of 97% of the students in college credits, about 80% of them or more complete the program. That is huge. And when you think about the challenges, that they faced before they've come to the campus, that they have felt like they wouldn't be successful, and to see those numbers is very is heartwarming to see that. And then to see them continue with Southwest after the 9 credits, because they feel a part of the community, and they feel a part of being a college student, because they see that, I can do this. So I think the credits earned, of course, we're proud of the credits earned. I think the confidence built is something that we don't talk about, because so many students feel like they can't do it. But just given that opportunity, they see, I can do it. And I will continue to do this. And so I think that's this partnership with tnAchieves has just been a game changer in so many ways.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I agree. The confidence boost is huge. And you think about from like the first day when they come in to when they're completing the program and we have that celebration. I mean, they're college students. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's they sort of wear that confidence in a different way. Michael, you show up to Summer Bridge and talk to the students every year. Why is that important to you? Why do you think these programs matter?
Um, this has been magical. I'll use the word magical for our students because those who don't have the early preparation to be prepared for or eligible for dual enrollment for whatever reason, or not eligible for middle college, so they don't get a jump on getting to college and being pro college ready. Uh, this is an opportunity for them to get 9 and hopefully be fine. That is not to be a bumper sticker, and I'm not trying to rhyme, but that's just the way it came out. I'm thinking about those kids who are at Laverne, for example, a Title III school that has a large percentage of its students having free and reduced lunch or eligibility for other types of aid for programs. Those kids, specifically those kids, I don't know that people count them in because they like, you go to that particular high school. But these are the kids who are doing overwhelmingly great once they transition into higher education. And if they're moving through the other 2 programs, dual enrollment middle college, then they're already on the fast track. But those that come in the summer, life has happened, the hidden backpack things that we used to talk about, the need for food, clothing, shelter, transportation, support, someone that will simply lend an ear to you or building a cohort of camaraderie. That's what's been important to me, that I get to walk in and usually overdressed. I may try to change that up this summer, but usually get a bow tie. And the kids are asking me like, who are you? Are you the principal? And I'm like, sure, I'll be the principal today. So that's fine with
Same
Zane.
thing.
Yeah, same thing. Like, yeah, we'll just call it what it is. But being able to look young men and young women in the eye and say, hey, I had this type of transition too. I didn't buckle down until I had to buckle down when there was either this or that. So what this has done, what you guys have created with Dr. Hall, you've given people another option. It gives them a chance. The conversation, I try to keep it light, but I talk about some things that are pretty serious. My own child is graduating this coming year as a senior at Upperman High School, and I don't know that everybody in higher education or in our community looks at and is aware of the opportunities that are available to them. And he has an unfair advantage. My daughter had an unfair advantage because this is what we do.
Right.
Because you're the principal.
Because I'm the principal. That's right. That's right. And you know, I have a whistle too, you know. but what I hope is that conversation with those young people is something that they can take home to their parents, or that they take to the jobs that they work within the service area, whether it be washing cars to working on a line somewhere. And they get to say, hey, I got a chance to talk to this guy. This guy came and talked to us about the importance of purpose, the importance of intent, the importance of not quitting when it gets hard. Because as we all know, just when it gets the toughest and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, that's when the gold and silver lining is right across the street. You just got to walk across the street to get to it. So hopefully those conversations lend themselves to, I don't know if it's inspirational, but I do hope, and I'm intentional about, I want it to be a little spark for them. People poured into us, and I think we're responsible for pouring right back into them.
Yeah, I love that.
Well,
Well, guys, this has been amazing. I really thank you for your friendship and your partnership. We Tennessee Achieves sees itself as walking alongside your wins or our wins, and when you're struggling, we're also struggling alongside you. And so, I look forward to a decade more of partnership and innovation and thinking really innovatively about how we all serve students. So really grateful for the 2 of you, not only for today, but for 10 plus years of figuring this out together.
That's right. And thank you so much. Thank you, Tennessee Achieve, for what you all do and your investment and belief in our communities. That really matters. When I talked about partnerships, this has been a very I'm thinking of the word, but this has been a partnership that is one of the most special ones that I've
Thank
had
you.
over 10 years.
We can't thank you enough, Dr. DeAlejandro. I just want to throw that in there. And Ben, the appreciation is familial, because I think that when we build advisory boards and we create partnerships, we go from rapport to relationship, and then in some instances dependability. Like, I know that if I call Dr. Hall, I can depend on the direct answer, and it's going to be with good intent and love behind it. I know if I call you, Krissy, that it's going to be, well, when do you want to get it done? And I can really appreciate that. And when I call Ben, Ben's like, well, let me check with Krissy. But no, I'm kidding, Ben.
That is true.
Yeah. But we have moved over the course of the last decade, from rapport to a really high level of trust and accountability with one another.
that.
We're okay with saying the hard things so that we can move to what's necessary for our students. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, no, I love that. Grave and I
Me
were
too.
talking recently just about how, we've all been in this space now for so long and how deeply we care for one another. I mean, it really is like a pretty special thing, I think.
Yeah, it is.
It
Yeah.
is.
Most states don't have that.
That's right. That's right.
That's true.
Move
Well,
over,
we're-
South Dakota.
Yeah, they're first in country, it seems, every year in graduation rate. So, but we really appreciate
thanks,
you guys.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of At Scale, the Tennessee Achieves podcast. Each conversation is a step toward a deeper understanding of how we can collectively expand opportunity and increase post-secondary access and success for all students in Tennessee. To continue following this work, be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Subscribing ensures you never miss an episode, and your rating or review helps others discover the stories and insights that we'll share. Together, we're not only supporting students, we're building Tennessee's future workforce. Thank you for listening.